Hello guys, and welcome back to part 5 of the series of create your own Node.js application. Today we're going to talk about adding new blog posts. So we want to allow the user to add new blog posts in our application. To do this, we're going to add new models. We're going to work a little bit with the routes. You're going to see how we can organize routes a little bit better. And we're also going to make some database calls through the models we made. So for sure, it's going to be very interesting to follow along. So I'm here again in my Node.js environment here in my Visual Studio Code. I'm going to hit npm run dev in the terminal. Here we go. And then we can go check our application. Okay, so our application is here. I'm going to refresh it. And last time, what did we have so far? We had a home page, we had an about page, we had a login page, and we had a sign up page. Last time we learned how to, here we go. So last time we basically learned how to authenticate a route. So we made sure that a route would be authenticated. You can only access, we made sure that you can only access a certain route when the route has been authenticated. And this was the posts route, remember? So I'm logged in, it's fine. When I try to authenticate this one, when I was logged out, oops, I have to log in, and it just redirects me to the login page. So today we're gonna add this posts page. We're gonna work with it, so we will allow adding new blog posts, and we're also gonna allow making sure that when we add new blog posts, we can also nicely see them in a list. We're gonna do some AJS for this, and we're also gonna be doing some database calls, etc. So let's get started with the first part, which is if you open your application, we will go start with the routes. So we can go to the routes here. In this case, we have home. And last time I added posts with the ensure authenticated in the home route. Remember, like in the home routes. But actually, post is gonna have many more routes. We're gonna add stuff. We're gonna delete stuff. We're gonna edit certain stuff, so it's better to make our new route file for this. So I'm gonna make a new file and I'm gonna call it post.js, and here all the post logic will be entered basically. So what you can do basically now is you can go to your index page and you can say router.use /posts require ./post file. Here we go. So basically what we say now is when we go to /posts, we want to use this router file. Very important now is it's going to crash. This is because this stuff doesn't export anything. So it's trying to find a router module here and it doesn't find it. So let's go ahead and start making the router module. So as usual, as you've seen before, how we make router modules, I go here. We start with requiring express. So is require express. Here we go. And then we need our ensure authenticated. So I'm gonna say ensure authenticated equals require. I'm gonna type it out real quick. You can copy paste this from the previous files too if you prefer this. You don't have to type all this. Okay, and then we can say if our router equals express.router. So basically we say our router here is a router module. And then very important, we still have to export this. So we say exports module.exports router. Here we go. And now you see the server has started here. So we're good. It basically worked. The next thing we want to do is we already have a posts route. So we want to use this posts route this time. So what you can do is you can go to your home route and you can just copy this part out of it. So you just say cut and then you just paste it right here. Okay, so basically what we have now is a router in our post file. The only problem now is we already define /posts over here. It makes no sense. Like if we want to access this route right now, we're gonna have to hit /posts. I will show you how that works. So if we were gonna have to say /posts, and then it will hit it. And if I log in now, real quick, and I say /posts/posts, then I get into the page. But the original route was /posts. So basically what we have to do now is remove this one and say go on the root of the route, and this means the root. Basically when I'm gonna do /posts right now, I get redirected. So I sign in, I do /posts, and it should give me the posts page. Here we go, we have the posts page. So this is the first part. We reorganized our routes, but of course this entire group of routes of posts will be authenticated. And as you saw last time, we have to add at every router that we were gonna make, every route here, we're gonna have to say ensure, for instance, /add, ensure authenticated. This is a lot of work. We want to avoid this because we know that this route is secure anyways. So what I can do is right before the router start, I can say router.use, and then I can just say ensure authenticated. And then it's going to add this ensure authenticated to the entire router as a middleware. And then I don't need it here anymore, as you can see. So all routes in this file from now on will be authenticated. So let's give this a try. I'm not logged in right now. I say /posts. I need to be authenticated, even though it's not here anymore, but it's here. Okay. The second part is we're gonna have to add multiple new routes, but before we do this, we also refer to the view page in our view folders to home. And this is not home anymore. We want to refer to posts. So we can make a new folder to make it nicely organized. We call it posts. And then in the posts folder, we're going to add a new file, which we're going to call posts.has. And then basically you can just copy the content of this file in this new posts.has file, and you can delete posts from here. So I'm just gonna click delete. All right. So then we have a new post page. What I need to change now is this one needs to become post. Here we go. So posts/posts. I guess maybe it would be better to call it post. So we're just gonna rename it to post. Okay, and then we call it post here. So post/posts. So basically, let's take a look if it works now. So we go to login, we say testing 1, 2, 3, and then we check here in the /posts page. It works. That's great. So the next thing I want is I want to be able to access my posts without having to type it all the time. So it would be nice if it could be added here in the header, in the nav bar. So let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to the header file. Let's take a look, the header file. We have this over here. So I have it opened here, but you can also find it in your partials, right? So over here. And then we're gonna add, do we wanna see this my posts page? Well, we wanna see this only when the user is signed in, right? So this is gonna belong here, and then we're gonna say, I'm just gonna copy this part here, and I'm just gonna change this to my posts, and then here we can say /posts, and that should be fine. So if I go back now and I refresh, we have my posts here. I can click it and I can go to the post page. Very nice. Okay, and it's secured. So when I would log out, it goes away. I cannot access it. There's no way I can go to posts. You need to be authenticated to access this. Okay. So the next part will be, once we're having now this post page accessible here, we need to be able to add new posts, right? So basically, let's get started and do this. The first thing we're gonna need is we're gonna have to say in our database which models we want to add. So we're gonna have to add a new model, which is the post model. Right now we already have one, which is the user. So here you have the user, and this is a user schema, and as you remember, then in your database you could see username, email, password in your columns. So we're gonna add a new model, and we're gonna call it post.js. And in this model we're gonna do all the general configuration now. So we import mongoose, just mongoose is enough. Var post schema is mongoose dot schema. And then we need to think a little bit. So what do we want in our post table? The first thing is we need a title. So I want a nice title to appear. So we need a title. This will be of type string, and this is required. We don't want to have any posts without a nice title. So our users who are watching the website can immediately see what the post is about. The next thing is we need content. So we need to have like some story. Maybe it's a travel blog post. Who knows what it could be, which is going to be type string, and it's required false. So I will allow titles but not contents. Then we have created ad, which is going to be of type date, and the default will be date.now. So basically a default means, and we had it before as well if I'm not mistaken here, it just means that we give the date of today the moment the record is added. So basically in this case it's gonna be, it would be the 13/06 and then the time, right? And then the last part will be an image. So this is kind of like an image that you can accompany the article with. In this part of the episode we're not gonna add images yet to it, but we're gonna do this later on. Because it's kind of like a separate thing of uploading files and storing them, and I will explain this in a separate video. Okay, and then we have user ID, which is going to be of type mongoose.schema.types.object ID. Object ID is basically a reference to the ID of another object. So let's say, for instance, this is user ID. This is going to refer to user here, to the ID of this user. So every post will be connected to one user. And then we say the required is false and the unique is false. And then we still have public over here, and public is basically, we want to be able to say whether a post should be public or not. So default is false. So when we add a record, default it will be false. And then later on, when we will add in a publishing mechanism so that it can go to the live feed, the message or the blog post, then we will say, then we will basically say, okay, put this to true, this public, and then we can see it in the feed. And then we're gonna say var post equals a new mongoose.model. This mongoose model is called post, and it's derived from the post schema. And then we can say module.exports equals post. Here we go. So that's it. And then we have our new post schema right now with a title, with content, with a created ad, an image, user ID, and a public. And then we, of course, we export this post module right here. All right, that's good. So the next part will be to add our posts to create our new ad page, basically. So let's get ahead and start modifying our page. So we want to go to our posts page. So let's do this. And then we can change this here a little bit. So this is going to be my posts, which means it's going to be my posts basically that I made, right? And then we're gonna, I guess we're gonna have to write some HTML. I don't really want to bother you guys too much with HTML, so I will leave the HTML pages in the descriptions below, and also you can find it on the GitHub. So if you don't want to type all this out, I understand this, and I don't ask this, you know, like this is not the scope of the exercise to do this. So you can find them below in the description. So we added here my posts div row, and then we're also gonna add a new row, which is gonna be of column MD6. And then in here we're gonna add a link, and this is very important, this link, which is gonna be of type of button. and the class will be button default, and this is gonna have a new post button basically. And then we were gonna have a reference to a link, which is gonna be post/add. This doesn't exist yet, we're gonna make this soon. And that's about it. So that's what we have so far. So let's take a look. What do we have? So I'm gonna log in here real quick. So I'm logged in. I go to my posts. Here we go. So we have a button, new post. And so far this button is not gonna do anything. I'm gonna click it. It's gonna go to an add page, but there's no add page there yet. So that's our next goal. We're gonna have to make a new add page. Okay, so let's, I'm gonna close all the others here. Save, okay. And let's focus on making a new add page. So we can go to our posts.js route file. In this posts.js route file, we can say add a new page here. So a new route basically, /add, and this is gonna have a function, regres. This will automatically also be authenticated. So we added a second route, and you need to be authenticated to access this route, because we basically protect all our routes in this file with router.use ensure authenticated. And then we're gonna say res.render. We want to go into the post folder again, and then we're gonna say add post file. Okay. Of course, this add post file, you guys know the drill by now. We need to add this in our folder here. So we say add post.ajs. Then I guess it's easy to just copy paste this stuff here. Just take it and just add it in here. And then we're gonna have to create a little form. But let's first take a look if it works. I'm just gonna say h1 welcome to the add post page, and we're gonna take a look. Okay, so I'm gonna log in real quick, testing. Here we go. And we go to the my posts page. I click new post, welcome to the add post page. So that's what we wanted. So basically when we're on the my posts page, we need to be able to click a new post, and then here we will show a form. This is again quite some HTML. I'm gonna copy paste this right now because it has no point in typing all this, and I'm gonna link the files in the description below for add post AJS as well. So you just can copy paste it from there as well. Like there's no point in writing all this to do that. So okay, so let's copy paste it. I'm gonna take it from here, and then we're just gonna paste it in here. So what do I have here? I have a row which basically says new post. This is title, and then I have a form with an action which goes to /posts/add, and this is a method post. There's going to be a title, and there's going to be some content. This is a text area, and then we also have a button to a submit button to create the new post. So let's take a look what it looks like. So I'm gonna refresh. Here we go. New post. We have a title, we have some content, and we can create. So the next thing we're gonna have to do now is we're gonna have to link up our routes so we can create this post in the database. As you remember, the database right now has one table, which is users. There's gonna be a new table there, which is gonna be called posts. Okay, so let's get started and do this. Let's go ahead. So again, to just refresh your minds a little bit, we have a name here, which is title, and we have a name content. These are the two items that we're gonna get in our route. I will explain this in a minute. So let's go to post.js, and then we're gonna have to add a new add post route. So we're gonna say router.post/add. This is gonna be a function, regres. Also gonna be secured, by the way. You're gonna have to be signed in to do this. And then it becomes very interesting. So we want to create a new post. So first we need to import this post model we made over here in our route. So let's do this now. So require models/post. Here we go. And then we're gonna say in our route var new post is new post. In between brackets we give our object here. So we can say title will be rec.body. Remember, through the body parser, we can access this body. So title. We say content is rec.body.content. And then we also have a user ID we need to add. And in this case, this is rec.user. This is the user that is signed in. Underscore, very important, underscore ID. This underscore ID basically is generated by MongoDB themselves. So if you look here at the user's files here, you're gonna see that there's an underscore ID column, as you see here. So this is the ID, the object ID for this model. So it's very important when you're gonna use this. If you make references, let's say this user made this post, that you can use ID as this reference. We're also going to do this with images. We're going to have like a table full of image files, and this is also going to be referenced to the post. I'll explain this later. For now, just forget about this, so it doesn't become too overwhelming. So we have a new post here, and then the next thing we can say is new post dot save function. We can say an error. So basically when there's an error, it's going to come into this, and then there's a post file which is returned once it's saved here. So basically what we can say, if there's an error right now, we can do a console.log, for instance, and can just say error. We could also make a flash. So as you remember, we could basically flash the error as we did before. For now, I'm just going to do console.log. We can change this up later when we start doing validations and stuff like that. And then we say res.redirect /posts. Okay. So we made a new post, we saved it, and then we redirect to the posts page to see whether it was added, yes or no. So, all right. So let's quickly wrap it up here. We have an add post page, which has a form with the method post. Thanks to this, it's gonna go into this router.post route, the /add route. This is also the /add route, right? And there it's gonna fill in the title and the content. And we know this by the body parser. We know name title is here, title, and then content is here, content. We wrap all this up in a nice post object. We include the user ID of the user we have signed in. And then we say save the post to the database and go to the place where we can see all the posts. All right, let's give it a shot. So basically now we can say we log in, we type in the password, and then we say my posts, and then we can just say create a new post. I'm gonna call this like a test, welcome to my post, something like this. This is an amazing post, amazing first post. I hope everyone likes it a lot. Thanks for reading this post. And then I can just hit create. And yeah, I was referred back to the post page, but yeah, we don't see any posts here yet. And this is because we still have to build this part, but there should be a post in the database. So let's hope so. There is actually a post there. Let's just make a quick refresh here. Okay, I see already a folder with posts. That's good. But is there a document inside? Yes, there is. Welcome to my post. This is an amazing post. It is linked to the user with this ID, 62 in the end. I'll check if this user has 62 in the end. Yes. So now I know that this post is linked to me as a user. And public is automatically on false, right? And it was created the 13th/06, so it's perfect, right? Everything is looking very nice. So the next thing we want to do is we want to have a nice list of all the posts we made so far. And this would be very interesting to have, because right now we have no idea how many posts are in the system, let alone what the posts are saying. So let's take a look here in our application. And what are we gonna change? So basically the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the posts page here. And here we need to write some code that will list list all the posts. This is what we want to write. So how do you do this in AJS? This is a very good question. How could we possibly do this? So the first thing we can do is we have to check how will we get data in this view. This is the question we have to ask ourselves. And in AJS and in Express, it works like this, that you pass on the data through your route to the view. So let's take a look. If we go to post here, yeah, there's no data being passed here. So that's interesting. So basically we should do it here then, right? Yes. So let's take a look how we can do this. So the next thing we should do is we should get all the posts. And like this, this means that we should find all the posts, post.find. So you can see these are all methods that you can use to basically query on your database. Find by ID, delete, remove, update. We're going to be using them, so don't worry about it. But for now, we need find, right? We need the find method. And then here we say, give me user ID, rec.user._ID. So give me all the posts of the user that is logged in. And then we say .execute. And this is going to return a callback function with errors and the posts that you found, right? The posts linked to this user. And then basically, again, if there's an error, I'm going to console log this. We're going to be working on this later on to make it nice, so it gives a nice error message. But for now, this is not necessary yet. And in the other case, so if there's no error, we're going to say res.render post/posts. And then we're going to add a second parameter to our render method, where we're going to pass on the posts data. Here we go. So here we can say posts, posts. So we're passing on the posts data that we found in this function here, in the database, basically. And this one can go. So this one we don't need for now. Here we go. So basically we're going to find all the posts. Once we found them, we come into this callback function. If there's an error, it's going to log the error in the console right now. We can still work with this, but for now, just for the scope of this exercise, let's just log it to the console. And then we're going to say res.render post/posts, passing on this data over here. Okay, so great. So basically it means I can access this object now in my views, right? So let's take a look. So if I go take the look in the views here, it should mean that I can loop through this data. So let's give it a shot. So as you remember, we write AJS with this percentage signs here, right? This type of brackets. And then we can say posts. So this is basically the name we passed along here to our object. Dot for each, yes. I'm getting a IntelliSense. I'm just gonna type it like this, for each. And then we say function, so a function that gives me all the posts that are inside this method. And then don't forget to close it here and also to close it here. So we have this AJS syntax is correct. And then inside this is a loop basically. It's gonna go through every post that is passed on from the route to this file here. So then we have to basically show the data of the post. How do we do this? Well, let's give it a shot by just running maybe just an h3 element where we can say, give me every post title here. So what we say is for this, don't forget the equal sign here because it's important. If we refer to this, it needs to be with this equal sign. So if we refer to a model, so basically h3 post.title, this should be it. So we should, what will we see now? Basically we loop through the posts and we should see this h3 element appear. Let's just take a look what it does. I need to log in again. Very nice that it's so secured. I'm logged in, I check my post. Welcome to my post. So this should be the title of my first post, right? Yes, it is. Look, welcome to my post. So that means if I'm adding another one, so let's say welcome to my post number 2, this is This is the second post I'm adding here. It's amazing. I'm adding here, it's an amazing post. Okay, and then we just click create. Here we go, we have the second one. That's nice. So it works. We have both our posts. We should see them also in the database basically. So if we refresh this part, let's take a look here, collections, loading documents. Yeah, we have our second post as well. So it means this is working. Of course, this layout, we want to have it nice, you know, we don't want to just have some H3 elements. So I made some little card object here, which we can use to show our posts very nice with some options to modify them. So let's just take a look here. I'm going to the thing, and I'm just gonna link this as well in the description below. So there's no point in typing this out. Like there's no reason. It's not the purpose of the exercise. So we just hit this one in here. We replace the H3 with basically this object, which has a thumbnail, which is gonna be our picture of the post. Which also has a caption with the title and then the content already in here, and then a read and an edit button. So let's take a look what it does, what this gives us now. Wow, that looks better. That looks already much better than it was before. I also noticed that there's a little bit of a thing here, so you can just add some styling on it. You can just say, like here on this one, I think, yeah, on this one, style margin bottom 10px. Okay, so what this is gonna do is just gonna give you 10 pixels in between, so it looks like a little bit separated. And then we have a read button and an edit button, and we're gonna be needing this. Sometimes we want to edit posts, sometimes we want to read posts, and there's also gonna be an option to publish a post, but this is for later then. So if I would make a new post right now, will it still work? So like welcome to, let's say post number 3, and then we just say this is the third post, thank you for reading this. It's not public yet, but soon we are going to publish it. Here we go, and then I just say create. Here we go, we have the third post as well. And you can make as many posts right now as you like. So basically you can continue, post number 4, this is post number 4, we create them, here we go, and we have the fourth post. That's actually what we wanted today. So quick wrap up, what did we do today? We made it possible that you can add new posts to the system through post routes. We reorganized our routes. So as you can see, we used a new post file here. We created new views, nicely organized within the post folder. We made a model which represents our database schema, very nice as well. We were able to link this model to the user. We made a call to the database right here. Both two calls, one to save the post and one to find the post based on the user ID. One thing I want to mention about this calls to the database, it's not really good practice to do your calls inside your routes. Often you're going to want to reuse certain methods for this. So we're going to learn how to do this later on, how to separate your logic for saving posts and stuff like this from your routes here. But for now, for the scope of this exercise right now, showing how it works, it's better to do it like this, and then later on I can show you how to separate this logic from the router logic. And we learned how to pass on data to our views, and then to use this inside our view, showing the posts, adding new posts, etc., etc. So the next time we're gonna make a detail page, basically. So we're gonna learn how to click detail to read the post, to edit the post as well, to update basically the post. And we're gonna learn how to publish it to the feed. And the feed is gonna be something public that all users who visit this website will be able to see, and then they can read these posts. We're also going to work on the profile picture, and we're going to allow some admin settings to happen, which means that only administrators of this website can access these parts of the website, basically, which is an extra middleware, and we'll talk about it then. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoy the comments and all the nice positive feedback. If you have questions, please feel free to ask them below in the comments. I try to reply as much as I can. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye.